Revelations of a Delusional Knitter.
Hello, welcome to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I am Angela, your host. This is episode 128, and it is Monday, November 30th, 2015. On to updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you are new. If you are returning, I thank you as always. Either way, I hope you enjoy the episode and continue to watch the podcast. Show is on iTunes, YouTube, and the website delusionalknitter.com. On delusionalknitter.com are the show notes with links to projects and Etsy shops and other things that I talk about. If you are not already a member of the Ravelry group, come on over and join the Ravelry group, Revelations of Delusional Knitter. And if you are a member, but you don't ever say anything, come on out and say something, because I love hearing what you guys are doing and chit-chatting and stuff. And on to declarations. So, what's been going on? The Epic Knit-Along. I will talk about in Heresy more. I'll talk about that. But I do think that I finalized the stuff for the Epic Knit-Along, and it's not going to be that hard. You'll see it's not going to be like a list that you have to stick to, blah, 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 because I hate that. So there will be some prizes I'll figure out along the way if they're just going to be participation prizes, FO prizes, probably a mix of both, things like that. But I'll give you some more information about that in a little bit. Overtime at work. Oh, God. I just quickly grabbed my calendar and did a little statistical analysis. I worked 11 days straight without a day off. Today is a day off. Yesterday was a day off, but I worked 4 hours. That didn't count. I worked 39 and a half hours of OT in those 11 days. 7 of those days was 31 and a half hours of that overtime. So, what happened was there's 2 people out on medical. One person was out on a cruise, which was scheduled prior to the second medical person who was supposed to already be back, and then somebody's grandmother passed away. So that left 5 of us to work all of these shifts. Yeah, so there were other people that did more overtime than I did. And the reason it's 39 and a half hours, that weird number, is because I went in early one day because one of the people kept getting forced doubles. And I had 4 hours of overtime in the evening that I took. And I had a doctor's appointment, so I just got there when I could get there because he didn't care. So I was like, I can come in early so you can leave, but I have a doctor's appointment. So depending on when I get out, I can't tell you what time, so that's why it's a weird number. But, yeah, I am so tired. I'm so glad it's over. Well, it's almost over. Tomorrow, I'm working 12 hours. But that's a swap. 4 hours of it is a swap for the person that's on the cruise. Friday, I have a double. And then after that, it'll go back to the normal 4 hours here and there, maybe 1 8-hour shift on a day off kind of thing, and it'll be back to the normal overtime again. As long as that second medical person comes back. But yeah, it's been crazy. At least this place is not as busy as where I used to. If it was where I used to work, I think I would have quit like halfway through that overtime week. I really do. This place, at least, I could read, I could watch TV. You were able to breathe and, go walk around outside while you're going stir crazy after being there 16 hours. And, it's a lot nicer place to work. New computer. I think I mentioned before that my husband and I split the price of a new computer that I actually bought off of a person that I used to work with, and he was selling his old gaming computer, but my husband and I wanted it for like photo processing and video processing because it was so stacked with specs. It was fabulous. And it did not disappoint. We finally got it set up. My husband got all the software on it and everything, and it's finally all set up in the dining room. And we got it a while ago. I want to say like Mother's Day or some Easter or some holiday or something, because we were up in New Hampshire visiting my husband's family. And I had told that kid I wanted it, and he lives in New Hampshire. And I was like, hey, we're like, next town over. If you have it ready, I'm happy to give you the cash and whatever. And it worked out. But then we had to set it up and put all of our software on it and all that stuff, and that took a while. Honestly, it just sat in a corner for like a couple of months before we even did anything with it. But the last podcast, I finally used it to process the video, and it took 15 minutes. This computer takes 3 hours to do the same thing. Oh my God! I was so excited. I'm like, that just cut down on my podcasting time not that I have to do anything while the video is rendering, but it takes up my computer. I can't post it until it's finalized, so if I record, it's going to be at least 3, 4, 5 hours until I can upload it. So it would take like half a day for me to do a podcast. And now I'm super excited because if there are those days where I'm like, I don't really feel like podcasting because I don't have the time, or I plan on leaving the house, or, running errands and stuff, now it doesn't matter because it's just going to take me the time to record. It doesn't take very long to edit because I know if I messed up or if I need to cut something out or whatever, I know where it is, so it's pretty quick. And then it will be done like that, and then I can upload it. So that's awesome. I was so excited about that. So excited. That's not even as long as the video. The video was like 35 minutes, and it took 15 minutes to process it. It's crazy. It was amazing. It was amazing. Today, my one day off, well, for now, I'll have 2 days off this coming weekend. It'll be fabulous. I got up earlier, I finished some knitting, which I will show you. I was puttering around, I ran out, I went and got cat food, and I went to Walmart, and got gas, and I did all that stuff, because I try to be a good doobie and get gas on my days off, so that way I'm not an idiot driving home some night at like 10, 11 o'clock, and I'm running out of gas, and it's freezing out because it's winter. I'm more particular about this when it's cold out. If it's summer, I don't care. I hate standing outside pumping gas in like the snow, or like the freezing rain. It's just terrible. So I try to keep, once I hit a quarter, I'm close to a quarter, I fill it. That way I never have to stand in the inclement weather, unprepared, because I usually don't have a jacket or mittens or anything. Yeah, I know. So I did that, and because I was kind of just trying to waste time until 4 o'clock because I had a vet appointment for the cats. And so Willow, I think she's fine. The other day she was coughing. Several weeks ago she was coughing. And I'm not saying coughing like for a day or two. I'm saying one isolated incident. But I was like, they're really overdue for an exam. I should really bring them to the vet. So I wanted to get her checked out. So I was like, and Riley hasn't been in a while, so I should probably bring him too. I was like, plus I'll just bring them both. It'll be over with. Then Riley won't flip out when she gets home because she smells funny. If you remember the Nico fiasco from the other month. So I was waiting till 4, so I brought them to the vet, and that went fine. Everybody's fine and healthy, except Riley has a heart murmur, which I think I already knew, because when she was listening to his heart, it popped into my head, heart murmur, and then she said he has a heart murmur. And I was like, yeah, I think that came up when he was a kitten. And she was looking in his chart, and she was like, well, we've never noted it. She's like, but it does say you went to another vet, initially before you brought him here. And I was like, well, yeah, because we had another cat at home. I adopted them from a lady I used to work with, so I stopped on the way home and had them vetted just to make sure they didn't have anything contagious or, any skin parasites or anything like that. And I said, maybe they mentioned it. I don't know if anybody ever mentioned it or if I just, had a psychic moment. I don't know. It was a little disturbing because she's like, there's nothing about a heart murmur in his chart. And I was like, that's kind of creepy because I already knew that, but whatever. So he, I think, will be fine. He's always seemed very healthy. My dog that I had for 15 years always had a heart murmur and she was fine. So I have one. So that's not a really horrible thing to have if you're going to have a medical thing, but I don't know why always my baby boys have medical problems. Before him, I had Oliver, and Riley is so much like Ollie. We actually called Riley Ollie for the first 6 months of his life. Not on purpose. His name was Riley, but we kept calling him Ollie by accident because he's just so much like him. And I'm like, oh, my poor baby boys always have medical conditions. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. But like I said, he usually is fine. I wouldn't have known. Well, I think I already did know. Like I said, that was just weird. But we'll just keep an eye on it. It's not a really, really bad one. It's a 2 out of a 6 as far as the grade. So we'll just have to keep an eye on him. But while I was at that vet, something funny happened. So I came in, I brought Willow in, I think, because I can't carry them both in the cat carriers. It's just not possible. Brought Willow in, sat on the bench, I checked in, I said, I gotta go get Rye. I went and got Rye, I sat down with them. There was a man next to me, so it's a long bench that's the whole length of the wall. There was a man next to me with a little dog, and I just saw out of the corner of my eye. And I was just sitting there minding my own business, and I could feel the guy staring at me. And I'm like, ugh, whatever. I get stared at sometimes. I think it's mostly the hair. Some people have told me I'm not, unattractive, so sometimes it's that. But I think a lot of it's going to do with the hair, because I look very young, but I have, gray hair. And then his dog jumped out of his arms and came running over and snuggled next to me. And it was so cute because he didn't like jump on me or anything. He just sat, put his little bum right against my side, and he just sat there and he was scowling at his owner. And I was laughing and I was petting him. And as I was talking, I was like, oh, not a big fan of you. And as I looked up, I'm like, oh my God, I know you. And I went, hi. And he was like, I know you're from somewhere, but I can't place it. So that's why he was like staring at me like, where do I know her? It's one of the officers in the town I used to work in. So I was like, so-and-so police department? I used to dispatch. And he's like, that's where it is. And I was like, yeah. So we were chit-chatting and stuff. That was just funny. That I run into people from that, well, it's the next town over. It's not like, it's that far away. But I run into them quite often. And that's it for declarations. That's all that's been going on. Revelations. I have an FO. This was a test knit for Holly Marie Designs, and it's Goddess and the Raven, and it's colorwork hat, and it came out awesome. So it's got ravens on it, and then it's got like the goddess moon symbol, and the top is her usual really cool colorwork into the crown. This is, I did up in Sport. It's Cascade 220 Sport and Brown Sheep Nature Spun Sport, I think that's all it's called, is the purple. And I did it on US 5 needles, and it came out really good, and I'm very happy with it, and it fits perfectly. It's pretty much on gauge, 6 stitches per inch, English. So yeah, I like it a lot. The one thing though, I worked a double and then finished the crown of the hat. I'm amazed it actually came out in the shape of a crown, to be honest with you, and I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. So when I did that, I knit this row 2 times. So this white line here used to be purple. And what I did was, instead of ripping back the hat, because I noticed this of course after I completely finished it and cut the yarn, I duplicate stitched the white stitches all the way around on that row, and I think I did a pretty good job because I don't think it's very noticeable. So that first row of white down the bottom there is actually a duplicate stitch all the way around. So that was pretty cool. As you can see, I have not woven in my ends. After the duplicate stitch, I was all set with needle and weaving after that point. So, but it came out really cool. And she asked me if she could use the picture for her pattern. And I said, absolutely. I said, but if you want to wait until the weekend, I can get you a good one, like, on my head. Because all I had was it on my blocking. I use a vase to block my hats. It's a 19-inch vase around, so it works pretty good for a 21-inch hat. It doesn't stretch them out too much. So that's all, the only picture I had, and it was kind of dark. So I was like, if you want to wait till the weekend, I can get you a good one. So, mine may be the featured image. So it was fun. Making Christmas socks. The last time you saw them, I only had a toe, I believe, because my needles were still in the other socks that I bound off. I now have 2 toes, and they're both the same length. So I'll just keep on going with those. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to do the fish lips because heel again on those. Oh, that I can say, apparently. I don't know, sometimes. I think that's just what I'm going to do, just do plain socks with that heel. And that's it for knitting right now, because that hat was primarily what I was focusing on. I really have to work on my color work. My color work's not terrible, but my tensioning is not wonderful either. And I tried a new thing in catching the floats. So I was catching the floats right about here, and I kind of caught them a little bit tight, so they kind of pull a little bit, but because that purple on that's way too many stitches to go without catching a float. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but I don't like that. So, like I said, my color work isn't terrible, but I would like to practice color work more and get a little bit better at it. I think I just have to practice, but all in all, I'm always happy with my inside color work. I have to practice with my left hand is the problem, because I knit English typically, not continental, so this is the issue that I have. Well, this hand knits very tightly, so I have to focus on not knitting tightly with this hand, and this hand I just have to focus on, getting it to do what I want it to do. It's like if you're right-handed or left-handed and you try to eat with your other hand, you end up stabbing yourself in the cheek because your hand it's not as dexterous as the other one. So that's it for Revelations. String theory, I have nothing for this episode. Scrolls, we are going to have a book review today, and I've already recorded it while I was waiting to take the cats to the vet, so I'm excited about that. And that book review is going to be SpillyJane Knits Mittens. So it's a mitten book from Cooperative Press by SpillyJane. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard about her before. She has those great colorwork mittens that have, she does like holiday ones. She has an awesome like goldfish one with different color gold. They look like the crackers, like goldfish, that I have on my wish list actually because I love that one. It's really cool. She's got gnomes I've seen before. She's going with little like pints of beer. She's got all kinds of awesome stuff. So that's one of the books that I'm going to review today for you. So I'll insert that here. This is a review of SpillyJane Knits Mittens, and it's published by Cooperative Press. The ebook version is $16.95. The print version is $26.95. 145 pages and 13 patterns. The other really good thing about this book is that there's a whole bunch of tips. This introduction spans 7 pages, and it goes over such things as sizing, different thumbs, gauge, fiber and yarn choices, circular knitting, color work, dealing with ends, and finishing. So it goes over everything you need to know if you've never done color work or mittens before. There's a lot of tips and tricks in the introduction part. The other thing that's really cool about this book are the tutorials. There's a tutorial for each type of thumb. You can either do a peasant thumb, which is almost like a afterthought heel, where you have a row of contrasting color yarn and then you pull that out and then you make the thumb from there. And there's also a similar tutorial on a gusset thumb, and they're very in-depth because they both span about 20 photographs, a little bit more. So it's every single step and it's very clear. It's got all the information you need to do either thumb. There's also, as part of the tutorials, there's duplicate stitch and fixing mistakes in the color work. So there's that as well. And I will show you some of the fabulous patterns in this book. There's 2 fingerless mitts, and this one is the plain blue, and that has that peasant thumb. You can see there's no gusset there. That thumb just comes right out. And both of these are fingerless mitts, and they both are good practice mittens if you've never knit a colorwork mitten before. This one especially, the other one's striped, but this one has a little bit of colorwork in it when it transitioned from the colors. So that's really cool. The other plain one is the plain brown, and that one has the gusset thumb, and that's that one with the gusset thumb, and it's got some nice random striping. If you look closely, they don't actually match. I like that. And then some of the other things I wanted to show you are the charts. I'll just show you an example of the chart for this plain brown mitten, and the charts are huge and fantastic. Look at that. That's a whole page. That's wonderful. So all of the colorwork charts are also like this. They're very colorful, they're very easy to read, they're large, you can usually read everything, and down the bottom they're broken down by the needles 1 through 4 if you're using double points. So that's really helpful. And the other chart I wanted to show you just as an example is the gusset thumb. There you can also see a nice large chart that's very colorful, very easy to read, and I love that when charts are large because they're a lot easier to work with. So some of the colorwork patterns that are in the book, I'm not going to show all of them, but I picked out a handful. This one is Nougat. That's a lovely one. You can just look at it because you can use so many different color combinations that it would look fabulous in. And then there's Midtown. Really, really cool. And Under the Hostas, which is what I think of when I think of SpillyJane. She always has all these really cool different patterns, like there's the gnomes there on the bottom. I've always loved her little cute little motifs. And Codfish. This one I think would look excellent with a variegated or a gradient contrasting color. I think that would look really cool. And then there is Cupcake. I love this one. I love the colors. This is more of what I think of when I hear SpillyJane, or these little motifs. That's what I was talking about. But the colors chosen for this Cupcake mitten are absolutely fabulous. It is so cool. And then we have Petoskey. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. It has something to do with fossilized rocks. It's in the description of the pattern, but that's a really cool one too, and that would look cool, I think, also with a variegated or a gradient yarn as the contrast. And the last one I will show you is penguin. And I have a friend that loves penguins, so she might just be getting a pair of these because those are awesome. Some of the other features of this book, there's about the author. So here we can learn about Jane and what she's up to and what she's been doing and how she came to be knitting mittens. There's also some information in the beginning of the book about that, and about Cooperative Press, the wonderful publishing company that allows me to review these books and lets us give one away. So there will also be a giveaway for this book on the Ravelry board. And what I found really fascinating about this book, there's the abbreviations and the chart key, but in the appendix are blank charts for the different sizes, also based on a different gauge of either 8 or 9 stitches per inch, including gusset thumbs, so that you can design your own mittens if you would like to try it. So here's an example of one of the blank charts. That's really cool, because if you can think up a motif, if you can get it to fit in the chart with the number of stitches, then you can design your own mitten. So I thought that was a really cool addition to the book that she gave that. And these ones are large enough that they're just like the charts in the book. You could easily print that out and draw out your motif on it. And, excuse me, I thought that was a really awesome addition to the book. So that is SpillyJane Knits Mittens, published by Cooperative Press. As I said, the ebook version is $16.95, the print version $26.95, and we will have a giveaway for one free ebook version on the group. And that was our book review, and like I said, there will be a link on the board where you can post to enter to win one free copy. So that's awesome. Testaments. I have quite a few things to show you in Testaments today. First one I don't know when the last time I showed it was, but Into the World I am still a member of. I have the October club shipment, which is Fen, and it's Cheviot. Their stuff's always awesome. I don't know how well the camera's going to pick it up, but it's a green and a blue and a brown. Really nice. And then the November one is Polworth. I always love that. It's like super springy merino. And it's Bootstrap Paradox. I don't know what either of these is in reference to. They usually do like a book or a movie or a TV show kind of thing. And this one's my colors totally. The teal and the purple and the gray. Love it. Love it. I think there were a few more that I haven't shown, but they probably already went downstairs into a bin in the basement, so oh well. The other thing I have, I received my swap package from the Knit One Geek 2 swap, so it was like a fandom-based swap thing. And my package was also received internationally in Finland, which was amazing because I only shipped it 10 days ago, and it was received a few days ago. I was really surprised. So my lovely gifter was Hench Wench on Ravelry, and she made these bags. So I have one purple and green polka dots, so of course she clearly paid attention to my favorite colors. And so the inside is the purple, and it's got this cool measuring tape ribbon and their drawstring bag, so it's a perfect sock size one. And then this one is fabulous. I love that one too, but this one's more the geek part. So it's TARDIS, and the most interesting thing, and Daleks, the most interesting thing is I bought my Swappia bag in this print because I really liked it. And look what I got! So this is a bigger bag, and like I said, it's the TARDIS and the Dalek print, and the whole inside is Daleks. And it's another really nice drawstring bag. Awesome! It's just a little bit bigger. And then she knit me a gorgeous shawl in this fabulous purple. So it's a lovely triangular, like elongated triangular shawl, sideways. Lovely lace and garter. This is Dream in Color Smooshy in this lovely purpley goodness. So awesome. Beautiful. She did a great job. She really nailed it. And then I got some nice oolong tea. Some loose tea. Oh, it's vanilla oolong. I didn't even notice that before. Yum! because I specifically said I can do loose tea, I can do tea bags, whatever. And a pop doll. It's my favorite crazy guy, Jane Cobb. I was so excited, from Firefly. And then she got me, oh, where'd my yarn go? She got me yarn too, that's somewhere around here. Hang on. Hold, please. A Lego Yoda magnet. Yes! I love Yoda. And yarn that I had in my hand when I was getting ready for this episode. Hang on one second. There it is. The yarn, because that was the whole point. There were supposed to be 3 things, minimum, in each swap package. Yarn, something handmade, which for her she did 2. She did the bags and the shawl. And something geeky. So those were the geeky things. The yarn is also geeky. It's Lorna's Laces Shepherd Sock in the Live Long and Prosper colorway. How awesome is that? It's like the Star Trek uniform colors. So that was really cool. That is awesome. And she also got me some caramel chocolates too for goodies. So that was an awesome package. I was super excited when I opened it. Really awesome stuff, so that was cool. And I also have a little mini left over from the shawl that I can use in my sock yarn blanket. So that was so cool. And my swappy was super excited with her stuff too, so that was awesome. Intentions. I think that's all I had for Testament. I don't know. It's been a long day. I'm very tired today. I work too much. Intentions. I'm still working on my shawl. I have to knit up the rest of it. I believe I have figured out what I want to do for the edging. Now I just have to knit it, and then that should be done soon. I did tell the yarn dyer that we're looking probably at January because I have to knit it, I have to block it, finish up the pattern, get pictures and everything. So I said probably January it'll be released by. And then she's gonna, at Morning Bright Yarns, Becky's gonna make up kits with colorways. I'm so tired. I get punchy when I'm tired, by the way. So now we are on to Heresy, and I'm actually going to have to pause the camera because I just realized while I was talking about the new computer, I don't have my tablet in here, and I need my tablet to do some of this stuff. So I'm going to pause here, and I will be back for the rest of the show. Alright, we're back, and now on to Heresy. I also just noticed while I took a little break to go get my tablet, when I went to restart the video, I never checked the first one. Usually what I do is I set up the camera, I record a clip for like a few seconds, and then I check to make sure everything's in frame. When I recorded the last portion, I didn't do that, and I was like, oh god, my head's cut off, I don't know. It was fine though, and I didn't want to adjust it so that it would change, so we're just going to go with it for the rest of the episode. Amazing Lace giveaway. So on the last episode I did a review of Amazing Lace, published by Cooperative Press, and we're going to do a giveaway for that. So we had 2 through 8 that I have on my random number generator here. So we're going to generate, and it's number 6. So let's go see who lucky number 6 is. That is Trilinda. So Trilinda, you have won one free copy of Amazing Lace. Yay! And what else do we got? Hogwarts at Ravelry. The new rotation started today, actually, and that's why I was so intent on finishing this and duplicate stitched the row that I skipped or did wrong, because I wanted to get that in for the Historical Society, because every rotation, Slytherin is the house I'm in, we try and take over the Historical Society, because that accepts projects regardless of their start date, so we can work on those during break week, as long as we finish them on the first day of the rotation today, which I did finish that. I duplicate stitched that this morning, so I entered that. We still have Keep On Knitting on Socks 2015 on my group until the end of the year, and then we're going to have the Epic Knit Along. So I thought about it a little bit the other day at work, and I fixed up the thread, which I will be posting shortly. I just have to finish messing around with the logo. I made a little logo for it for people's blogs and such. So what we're going to do is we're going to have 3 categories. And the first is Epic Techniques. So if you do anything that's new to you, maybe colorwork, maybe you've never done colorwork before, maybe you've never done socks before, maybe you've never done lace. Even if you have done all of those things, there's always something that you can do that is new to you, and that will qualify for that one. It's going to be Epic Yardage. Originally I had that classified as 1,000 yards plus. I'm going to change it, I think, to 800 plus because, for example, if I did a sweater, it would probably be about 800 yards, an adult sweater, regardless of what some people say. The other day at work, the other dispatcher, we were looking at Old Navy, had a Black Friday sale. And I was like, man, they don't have that my size. And she's like, why? Can't you just get a child's large? And I was like, So, regardless of what you think, my sweater is an adult sweater, even though it's only 800 yards. So, and I'm a small, so that will qualify for all adult sizes. And the other one is going to be Epic Age, which is going to be any old whip. And I'll have to figure out what qualifies as a whip. If it has to be, I guess I'll say as long as you started it in 2015, it should count for the 2016 and along. That sounds good. Let's do that. So that's what we're going to do. So now I'm going to post the thread shortly as soon as I finish up that logo. But what we can do now up until January is clean stuff up. I've been working on updating my needle stash because also when I went to go knit this hat, I wanted a 16-inch size US 5 needle, and I was like, shoot, I don't have one of those. Then I went and looked at my needle list on Ravelry, and no, I didn't have one of those. Guess what? I did have one of those. So I'd like to update that because it would be a lot quicker to look quickly and see if I have that particular needle size instead of digging into a mess. I ended up pulling a whole bunch of them out of the drawer. Most of these are probably in Ravelry. There's more, too. This is just what was in my way while I was trying to get that needle out. So, yes, stuff like that. Your stash. Organizing that stuff. Your queue. Go through your queue. There's probably stuff on there you don't want to knit anymore. There's probably stuff on there you want to add. And things like that. So that's what we can do now. Doesn't mean you can't do it later, because I know it is December and a lot of people have a lot of stuff to do for the holidays, so that will also go throughout the whole year of the knit along. But those are the categories, and that the cleanup thing is more just that we can chit chat and give each other ideas and, you know, help and suggestions and things like that. But the three categories are going to be techniques, yardage, and age of whips, so just finishing whips, whatever. Those will be the ones that more qualify for like prizes. And yeah, so that should be fun. There's the Indie Designer Gift Along 2015 that goes until the end of the year, I believe. I participated, well, it's gift along, so it's intended for the holidays, but I believe it goes to December 31st. That is a group. I'll put a link to that, and I already did, actually, so that people were aware of it, because there was a sale period that has ended now, but I participated in that as a designer. So people are knitting up some of my patterns for their gifts, and that's awesome. I do not have any Ravelry patterns for you today. I did look quickly. I don't know if those are new patterns up there, but if you browse the newer, you know, the first thing that pops up on this, I'm not seeing anything fantastic or anything new. I'm seeing the same stuff all the time, so I don't know what's going on with that, but so I don't have anything to show you, that's the point of that. Delusional Jabber. This whole show is Delusional Jabber most of the time. Arts and crafts. I haven't been doing anything else. You saw what I've been doing. Reading. I'm still reading Grip. That's part of that trilogy that I was reading before. Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince I'm almost done with. I'll probably finish that up in the next day or two. And Ready Player One I'm still listening to. I don't have a whole ton left on that because I was listening to it the last couple of days while I was knitting on that hat. So that one should be done shortly. That was another thing. Like I was cleaning up my Goodreads list. I didn't realize a lot of the things I had on my to-read list, I actually have Audible audiobooks. So I went into those while I was at work, all these ridiculous hours. I had Audible up, and I had Goodreads up, and I was matching up which ones were audiobooks. So now when I go to pick one off the list and go read it, I'll know, oh, you have the audio version, so don't go buy it, or, you know, get it from the library, because you already have it. And I was checking off ones that I owned on the Kindle or whatever, and things like that. And there's also Kindle Unlimited that I do now. That's really cool because I'm finding a lot of books on that, which essentially you loan, you know, you loan out. So that's cool. TV, Arrow, I'm getting more caught up on. Once Upon a Time, I think I am caught up on. I have to catch up on Gotham. I'm a little behind on that one. And The Walking Dead mid-season finale was yesterday, and I was so excited that it was my day off. I still worked overtime, but I worked 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., so I was home. My husband and I got Chinese food in celebration of the mid-season finale, which I was starving when I got home after 6, so we actually ate before we watched the show, but we had some wonderful Chinese food for that. And now on to jabber. Just jabber. Just jabber. I am punchy. I told you, when I'm tired I get really silly. I just wanted to talk about... I thought about this when I saw that officer at the vet. The place I used to work versus the place I work now. The other day, well, I know the difference. I already know the difference, but here's an example. Because that place, the other place I worked at, that city is so busy, and 90% of the people that call are either on drugs or have a mental illness or something, so every phone call is just chaotic and hectic, and it takes like 5 minutes to even figure out what they're calling for. I get a 911 call for a man having trouble breathing. And he's telling me what street he's on, and I'm looking at the screen, because contrary to what people think, we don't know exactly where you are if you call on a cell phone. We have a general idea. It maps out, sometimes it's dead on, sometimes it's a mile radius, you know, so it's not exact. But clearly I could tell he was not in the city I was sitting in, he was in the other one. So even with the street names, the address he gave me, I was like, are you in whatchamacallit? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, you're not talking to them, so he first calls, and he's just yelling on the phone, help, help, I'm having trouble breathing, help, 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 help. Okay. Where are you? He gives me an address. Now, first of all, I used to work in that city. It's a known drug house. So I'm just going to make an educated guess here, and I'm guessing, 1, you're yelling, 2, you're walking. You're not really having that much trouble breathing. I'm going to guess you're having a panic attack from whatever you just bought from that house. All that aside, let's just skip that. That's just an educated observation. So I tell him, okay, let me get you over to them. Why don't you sit down if you're having trouble breathing? And I'm telling him this in my head. 1, because you say you're having trouble breathing. 2, how is the ambulance going to find you if you continue to walk around? Right? Duh. This is every phone call over there in that city. So I get him over, I transfer him over to the other one. We can still hear, you can still hear when you transfer to another town or whatever. So I'm listening for a few seconds just to make sure that they got all of his information before I disconnect, in case he hangs up or whatever, then I can talk to them. So at this point, he tells them the address. So he's still yelling and being frantic and just flipping out. Again, I have spoken to people having trouble breathing on 911. They can't yell and they can't walk around, so whatever. He gives them an address. This man has walked down the street, taken a turn, and walked another half a block. In this 30 seconds it took me to talk to him and transfer him. Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Like, I already told you to sit down twice, for various reasons, which you didn't listen to, and you're still yelling, so you can clearly breathe. Just like, it just gave me, when I hung up the phone, I turned to the other dispatcher, and she actually worked in that city I used to work in years and years ago, so she knows much more than the other people who do know, because they get it. We can listen to their radio, we know their call volume, you know, and things like that, but unless you've actually worked, I really don't think you get it. But I turned to her and I was like, oh my god, I am so glad I don't work there anymore. I was like, that was every single phone call. All day, every day over there. Yelling, frantic, hysterical, crazy, nuts, walking around. Why are you still walking? The ambulance is supposed to come find you. Why are you walking around? Like, just stupid. Stupid, stupid. So, that was just a nice little reminder of how much I like not working over there anymore. And yeah, it's just crazy. And if you're having trouble breathing and you're freaking out, that's fine. All I'm saying is I'm making an educated guess. The initial address you gave me is a known drug house. You're yelling, screaming, and walking. I don't think you're dying. I think you're having a panic attack from whatever you just bought from that house is all I'm saying. Because I've spoken to people having serious trouble breathing, and they can barely get anything out. So, yeah. But, oh god, it just reminded me of how much I'm so happy I don't work over there anymore. Because it was so chaotic all the time, all day, every day. So, that was a nice little revelation. I was like, oh, I already am happy that I don't work over there anymore because it was so crazy, but that was just a nice little, like, real life reminder. And yeah. So, and there are times to be hysterical. I totally understand if your wife, husband, daughter, brother, sister, whoever you think is dying on the floor having a medical emergency. Of course you're going to be hysterical. And that's fine. And I actually, the more hysterical somebody gets, the calmer I sound. I don't know if I get calmer, but I sound calmer. But over there, it was just like, oh, like I just told you, I can make an educated guess of what is happening right now, and you're an idiot. It's what it boils down to. Whereas if you're calling because your mom you think is having a heart attack and you're a little hysterical, well, that's a legitimate, genuine reason to be hysterical. Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you I'm sending help. I'm here to help you. Listen to me, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. But these other people over there, there's no getting through to them anyway. I told him to stop and sit down twice. He walked like a whole block. So, yeah. But I think that's all I've got for you. That's the knitting and the stuff, and I'm excited. Some people have posted on the board that they're really excited for the Epic Knit Along, so I'm excited about that. That's what it's going to be, Epic Knit Along 2016. I got the Q out of it because, like I said, I kind of came up with 3 categories and some other stuff, so it's going to be the Epic Knit Along. And you will see what it's all about. Probably by the time I post this episode, I will have put that thread up. So that's exciting. And we still have a couple more books to review from Cooperative Press and do giveaways for. So that's exciting also. And don't forget to keep on knitting on socks. I have one more skein of sock yarn from Into the World for the final prize for that one. And then we'll move on to 2016 and the other knit along. And happy knitting and spinning.